Okay, hello everybody. My name is Abingdon. You're live with me on YouTube right now, and this is a week. Oh my gosh, kind of an update. If you haven't been to this channel before, we normally go over watch manuals or repair or different features of watches. We'll do different videos where I'm going on adventures with some of our customers who we call crew members. So today's video is a little different because, well, we launched on Macy's this morning. So my headspace has been quite in like a whole other world. So if you're joining us today, I'm going to apologize ahead of time because I'm going to be a little bit all over the place. But we've had a really amazing 6 months where I've been working really hard on just trying to build the company so that it can reach more people. And one of the things that I always get told about is that this brand is like revolutionary, and to me that doesn't seem the best descriptor or adjective for Abingdon watches, but I see where people are coming from with this, because this weekend I flew with UFC fighter Antonina Pantera. She's also a pilot. She owns her own airplane here in Vegas, and her and I met some time ago, and I've been trying to get together to go flying, and we flew to Avenger Field in Sweetwater, Texas this weekend to go to a huge event. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit, is the history of women in these spaces, and I guess why people are calling an Abingdon watch a revolutionary product. And this isn't intended to like toot my horn or anything like that about, oh, this brand is so amazing, but this is what people are telling me. So I'm always trying to wrap my head around, how is it that people come to that conclusion? And after this weekend being in Sweetwater, Texas, it kind of resonated. It made a lot more sense to me. So let me kind of back up a little bit. We made the decision on, I think, Thursday. We left on Friday. So it was really last minute. And it was amazing because in Sweetwater, Texas, which is where Avenger Field is, they have every year this homecoming. And the homecoming is all, it's kind of like the reunion of the Wasps. So Wasps are Women Auxiliary Service Pilots. And a WASP is somebody that was flying in World War II. A little bit of the history of this, it's an absolutely incredible story. Back in World War II, or should say back in the early 1940s, women were trying to help in the war effort for World War II, and they were wanting to fly airplanes. And a woman named Jackie Cochran was able to get the government to say, okay, yes, they can fly these airplanes, but we're not going to let them see combat. What we're going to do instead is we're going to build the airplanes out of Donald Douglas in Southern California, or in any of the other factories that they were being built in Wichita and the different places around. And then we'll train these women to go and pick them up and deliver them to the East Coast so that men could take them over to Europe and fight. The other thing that they were also doing is they were training, they were practicing, they were doing all these types of things to help the men go fight with aircraft. And it was amazing, because this is the first time that women were able to do something in the war effort other than their primary job in the war, which had always been medical nurses. But this is where Rosie the Riveter came out. So, you know, when they were trying to build these airplanes, they brought women onto the assembly lines, and now they're ferrying airplanes. And you know me, I like to ferry airplanes. So these were the women that were really trailblazing for what I like to do today. Well, because this happened in the 40s, and they were not recognized as members of the military until decades later. And side note. And then when Obama's second term, I think it was like 2008, 2010, give or take, they finally got the Congressional Medal of Honor for their service in World War II, which was also amazing. But if you think about it, these women that are flying these airplanes back then in their 20s, sometimes teens, they're now up in their 90s. They're 100. There's not many of them left. They think that there's less than 20, I think. They don't have a full count, but one of them was there. And I was able to meet Shirley Cruz. She had her 100th birthday while there at this homecoming. And she was so happy. She was so she was glowing. And everybody was honored and just so, it was a feeling that I can't even describe. But these wasps, these women, you know, when you look at these industries that we market towards, aviation, scuba diving, automotive, many of these industries are relatively new. They're less than 100 years old, or maybe just over 100 years old, these different activities that we're all getting into. And to meet a trailblazer, a woman who literally was writing the book on aviation for that time. I met Gigi, who is the great niece of Bessie Coleman. And Bessie Coleman is not just the first African-American woman to get her pilot's license, she's the first African-American to get a pilot's license. And when you talk about somebody who really went after their dreams, the tenacity, I mean, right now we've got Wally Funk, right? But Bessie, let me go back to Bessie real quick. She wanted to fly so bad that she got her pilot's license 2 years before Amelia Earhart by moving to France, learning French, and then completing a 10-month course in 7 months, and coming back with her pilot's license and performed air shows and exhibition flights and did all these different things. And during last weekend, it was the anniversary of her death. She passed away in an aircraft accident April 30th. So it was, gosh, it just felt so like I was in history. I was literally in history. Avenger Field in Sweetwater, Texas is the place that the Wasps trained. And fun fact, many of the men who were flying airplanes, there were more emergency landings by some of the men at Avenger Field than any other field in the United States during that time, because they all wanted to go see the women. But man, they had some tribulations, they had some trials, challenges as well. Some people felt very threatened by the Wasps, and they would sabotage some of the airplanes. There's a couple Wasps who did pass away because sugar was put in their tank and different things like that. So, you know, you have now Wally Funk, who you might have seen on social media. We saw her at Women in Aviation at the conference in Nashville earlier this year. She went up into space with Jeff Bezos when he does his inaugural flight in Blue Origin. And she was part of the Mercury 13, which is a group of 13 women that NASA was wanting to put into space, and then they just never ended up completing the program. And Wally has been trying to get to space since basically she was in utero. I mean, it is incredible to think that in the last century, women were first allowed to fly, but only as ferry pilots. African Americans were going to France to learn French to get their pilot's license. Women are trying to get up into space, and for 50 years were denied until just recently in the last year. We are living in history right now. This is modern history. And when somebody says what I'm doing is revolutionary, at the end of the day, this is a product, right? I'm getting them made and I'm selling them. So to me, I never considered it revolutionary. But what some of the things that I've heard from crew members And today launching on Macy's, which is probably, one of the most empowering and inclusive retailers of anybody in the world. Macy's programs to try and include LGBT vendors or businesses, women-owned businesses, BIPOC, and just all the vendors, all the businesses that produce products that are not they're continually dismissed, or not even dismissed, they're just ignored. And it's not because of anything other than lack of opportunity. And so to be included with Macy's today, and hopefully for a very long time, and to talk to customers and crew members who are firsts. I mean, I met the first African American woman who was hired at Alaska. I met the Alaska Airlines. It's a huge airline. I met so many firsts this last week, including Shirley Cruz, a Wasp, 100 years old. And one of the things that I love about wearing a watch and having it on my wrist on the daily, and as you guys know, I mean, I've been wearing this sucker for 15 years. It reminds me that we are in a time of these women, these trailblazers, and it's not just women, but I mean, I know our focus is typically women, but there are people in our history, in our nation's history, in world history, that are alive today that are doing things for the first time ever. And we get to meet them. We get to ask them questions. Through social media, we get to talk to them. We can find out what they're doing on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. And we can see just how these people they did shape what we're doing today, or they're shaping it now. And so I just want, this video is really more of it's my PSA, my podium, my whatever you want to call it, to just remind you that we have so much in our wheelhouse right now that we can go after. We can, the opportunities for us. It doesn't matter how old you are. I started my company when I was 22 years old. I'm 38 now, and this is something I'm continually trying to better. And I myself personally am continuing to try and better myself through my diving, through my driving, through flying. It's just something that we need to remind ourselves that we really can go out and seize the day and trailblaze our own path and be weird and be different and not go with the flow. And because if we don't do this, who's going to do it? The world's going to become very bland. It's nothing's going to evolve. But it's the weirdos, it's the mutations, it's the people that are not, I'm not saying rule breaking, but rule making. And there's a very big difference with that. And I think what I love about the crew members, the trip this weekend with Antonina, with just everything that has been going on, and just following customers on social, is when they're wearing an Abingdon watch, it's reminding them of the tribe that they're a part of the group of people that they're a part of. And to make, the first pilot's watch for women 15 years ago, and then to have it launched today in Macy's. It's not about, okay, great, we're in a big retailer, but I'm excited that the people that shop at Macy's, Johnny Q Public, the general, General John and Jane Doe's, they're going to now start seeing the marketing materials of not the celebrities that have watches on their wrists, your Natalie Portmans, your Charlize Therons, your Leonardo DiCaprios, all those people that are endorsed by watch companies, which they're fantastic. I'm a fan of all of them. But they're going to start seeing women who are flying airplanes, captaining space shuttles, they're captaining ships, they're doing things that they've never seen a woman do before. And for me, I get more joy out of helping somebody change their mind shift just to the possibility that one can do that. Rather than, okay, it's great that we're going to be in this big retailer and we're going to sell a lot of watches. That's fine. So I can keep on changing the mind shift. So I just want to throw that out there to you guys, and just remind you that you are incredible. Everything that is in you, you are amazing. You can do whatever you want to do. And if you want to go to one side of the spectrum and completely something different than what I've been talking about today, do it. It's totally cool. It's fine. It's great. It's you. If you want to trailblaze in some field that is completely unrecognized, dismissed, ignored, all of those things. I mean, we just had a big upset in the aviation industry where Red Bull didn't execute their, I don't even know what you want to call it, but when they were trying to jump out of the airplanes and swap airplanes, one crashed to the ground. It turned out they didn't even have FAA approval to do this stunt. It was a stunt. But when you're continuing on doing things that are so outside of the box that people would never even think about, that's where we evolve. So that as I just kind of like stumble over, but that is really what I wanted to talk about today, and just like pump you up, because this weekend pumped me up. Here I am flying with one of the greatest UFC fighters in women's UFC, and we're going to Avenger Field, one of the most iconic airports in the United States for US history, for World War II. And then we're launching on Macy's today, and we've got women coming up to me saying how their watch reminds them that they can go out and do anything. I mean, it's just, I'm just pumped. I don't know what to say. I'm just pumped. So I hope you are too. I hope this video pumped you up, and that you go out and you carpe diem and you do what you want to do. If these women did what they were able to accomplish back almost 100 years ago, then good Lord, we can do so much. So that's what I have today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We've got so many new things, so many more things that are going to be coming out in the next few months. So please stick around, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media. Go check out our website, www.theabingdonco.com. There's big news with the foundation that's going to be coming up with all of our scholarships that we're doing. More brilliant books are going to be coming out because I know you guys are loving those. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.